essentially what we do is we gain a commitment in the organization that we are going to be dedicating this time and resources for this project.
Yeah, hello and welcome to our second call for Lean by Nature. It's Elizabeth and Aman again. And today we're going to talk about how we can start the improvement process. And first, to really get into the topic, I invite you to all just close your eyes and breathe and feel your presence just being here. And yeah, feel that you're now ready to get into a new topic and your thoughts are calming down, and everything that happened today, you can just let it go for now and breathe. And yeah, just focus on the topic at hand. Yeah, so welcome again. So we're gonna stick with our frame so that Aman first will express a little on how it is done in the whole lean thinking and lean production. And then later on, I'm going to talk about how nature might do it, the whole starting the improvement process. So Aman, what do you have to share for us today?
Absolutely. So thank you, Elizabeth, and for scheduling this and carrying on with our journey, if you will. On this is like an exploratory journey, and I'll just like to quickly start by just summarizing the intent one more time and what we discussed last time. I know we already have a recording available, just to bring the context and then we move forward. So, last time we talked about the concept of lean as used in the organizations, and the endeavor of these calls is to try and learn some of those best practices that the organizations deploy to improve their processes and improve our personal life. And I think this call is not necessarily providing a solution, but we are together exploring the solution. It's like a journey than a destination. So that's what is the endeavor. And when we talk about, as we talked about in the last call as well, lean organization, I'd just like to recapitulate the definition, how a lean organization looks like really. So when we say an organization is lean, and I think we have Ja joined as well. So welcome, Ja, and thank you for joining. We're just getting started and recapitulating what we discussed last time. So welcome. So we talked about organizations which are lean essentially mean that they are producing just the right quantity of product that they want to produce. There is no excess, there is no inventory, just the right quantity at the right time. So there are no delays, no waiting time. It's absolutely available when it is required, just in time, if you will. The right quality, there is no rework, no rejections, no scrap, no wastage. And all of this is done in a safe environment, an accident-free environment, and by workforce which is motivated, self-driven and self-motivated. So that's how I would like to define a lean organization. And last time we talked about the various aspects that every organization somewhere or the other is trying to be leaner. If you go by this definition, making things available at the right quantity, at the right time, at the right place, with the right quality, the right resources, and motivated workplace. So if you look at this, this is really an ideal uh, concept which every organization is aiming for in bits and pieces or in whole. And when we look at the personal aspect, that's also we touched last time. We said that organizations want to become lean. Even as an individual, we want to always become lean. So when I think of an individual perspective of lean, I really feel a person is physically fit, mentally strong, stress free, uh, creative, enjoying the present moment, and having excellent interpersonal relations, good at time management. So these are the things which comes to my mind when I talk about a lean personal aspect of an individual's life. So if we think about it, I think every individual is somewhere trying to be leaner in their own way. They're trying to be either fitter, they're trying to be more having a better interpersonal skills or better time management, lesser stress, be more in the moment, happier. So I think that is where the endeavor is. All the organizations and the individuals both are working towards becoming leaner, and that's what we talked about last time. And this is where we are trying to have these calls where we are trying to learn the practices from the organization and integrate into the personal life. So that was a recap, and I would now like to go into the next step of the journey, if you will. And I will again start with the corporate perspective, and then we will come to the personal life. So when we look at any organization which wants to become leaner, they will like to identify the area where they want to become lean first, whether it is productivity or quality or cost or timeliness. Uh, we cannot solve all these issues at one go. It will be like boiling the ocean. So we have to prioritize in an organization what kind of area of opportunity we are going to work on as an organization. That's the first step of improvement. And if we want to go slightly in depth of the way the projects are started, I think the first step is defining the project charter. And I like the word, so like a charter. When we look at hear the word charter, it is like a detailed, documented kind of endeavor. So when we talk about project charter, it is defining the problem statement or defining the area you're going to work on. And it is easier said than done. People don't really uh, have a very clear understanding when they start what exactly are we going to work on. So that's very important to define the area of opportunity that we are working on. That's defined in the charter. We define the business outcome of the project. What are we going to get out of this whole endeavor? That's also part of the charter. We also talk about the current level of performance. So where are we right now, roughly, and where do we want to be? What is our target, essentially? So all of that is defined in the charter. Who are the resources we can tap on as we are doing this project? What are going to be the timelines, right? So what is going to be the scope of the project? All of that is thought through in this initial project charter phase. And it is important to draw that boundary, because usually what happens is when you are not very clear about the scope, then something like scope creep happens. As the project starts, more and more things start getting into the project, and then it becomes a never ending process, if you will. So it is important to define all of this in a project charter. That's how the organizations start the improvement process. And if you are familiar with some of these like quality frameworks like Six Sigma, for example, it has the DMAC methodology of improvement. And the first step, the D, stands for define the problem. And that D is essentially the same project charter, where we define the project charter. So even Six Sigma has the same perspective. And then there is a classic Deming cycle like PDCA. I'm sure you must have heard of it. The plan, do, check, act, the PDCA. So this again, the P, the plan, is about the project charter. So this is about the technical aspects. On the project charter is a technical term, and we do put all of that in the project charter and a lot of other things that we do. But essentially what we do is we gain a commitment in the organization that we are going to be dedicating this time and resources for this project. Because one thing that is common in an organization and an individual, which I'll come to, is that the business as usual will continue to happen while this project is being executed. So customers are going to be there, the targets are going to be still there. So we cannot compromise on the business as usual. So this project that we are going to do has to happen in parallel to business as usual. So it is going to get some more commitment from the organization, from the individuals, because they are going to put in extra effort over and above the business as usual. And that is why I feel this charter is important, to align that everybody is committed to this project, because we are going to commit so much time and effort. Everybody should know that it is going to take some extra bit from the organization. That's how I see this this whole project charter aspect. So this was the corporate piece, and I don't want to keep it very technical, so I'm just going to now shift to the personal aspect. Now, when we as individuals want to improve any aspect of our life, whether it is physical fitness, or whether it is our eating habits, or it could be lesser stress and time management and interpersonal relations, we rarely make a project charter, right? Although we can, it can help us, but we don't. We just think about it in our mind that we want to work on our fitness, let's say, and way a kind of a charter, where you are defining what you want to do. So I would like to now draw parallel that when we start something on an individual level in terms of improvement, we must be sure that we have identified one aspect, not multiple aspects, because then it will be like boiling the ocean. So let's identify one aspect of our personality which we want to improve upon, and and then maintain the focus. Try to get that inner commitment that we will work on this, because as I said, the business as usual will continue. We will continue to go to our office, we'll go have family commitments and everything, and with all of these we have to work on those individual improvement initiatives that we are going to work on. So I think on that I have just one point to add, and then Elizabeth will request you to get into the environment, the nature aspect of it, which is that since we don't have a project charter in the personal life, I would like to share a thumb rule that we can follow. If you want to know that, or that you are really committed to a personal improvement aspect, then there is a thumb rule which is called the rule of 21 days. Rule of 21 days, which means that for the next 21 days, you have to do something incremental, even if it is very, very, very minute, in that direction which you want to improve upon. And after 21 days, you will well be on your way to improvement in that aspect. So that is kind of a barrier you have to cross. And I also read somewhere, and it is interesting that they further bifurcate into 7, 14 and 21 day milestone. So even if you are not able to attempt 21 days at a stretch initially. Just start with 7 days. Whatever you want to improve on in your personal life, 7 days continuously do something incremental to towards that direction. Once you reach that 7 day, then you get into the 14-day benchmark. And if you are able to sustain for the next 14 days, then then the last kind of thing is 21 days. And once that 21 days kind of barrier is crossed, every day you have been able to do something incremental, then it is really imbibed in you. It has come into your heart, it has come into your system, and now you will be committed to towards that improvement. It is like a project charter, if you will. This is the time it takes to kind of internalize that aspect that you want to improve upon. So that's the parallel that it's like an interesting thing. As I said, it's like an ongoing journey. So that is my personal kind of take on how we can use some of these formal project charter approach in an organization towards in our personal aspect, which you want to look at and gain that personal commitment, which is very important to get started, because as the classic saying goes, well begun is half done. So if we start well, if we are committed initially, then I think we are well on our way. So I would say that this is the first critical step towards any improvement journey.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Okay.
The different aspects of defining the scope and going more into detail on why it's so important and how we can also bring that into our personal lives. And also for the recap. And looking at nature, I thought about that whole, okay, well, defining the scope, that's very technical, and would someone in nature really do that, or how does that look in nature? And it's really important thinking of, okay, well, people that are living closely connected with nature, their intent is also very much to look at, okay, well, how can we make something more effective and not waste anything? It starts with, I don't know, if you hunt an animal, you're just using every part of it because it was a lot of effort to have that animal. And so it's important to really honor each little thing and to make something out of everything. And so the whole concept of what lean means is just really important for people living a more nature connected life, that when they're living outside, or yeah, just more outside. And so defining a scope for a certain thing, it's just really important. And looking at, for example, when there's a group of hunters going out and hunting an animal, they need to be really focused on that one mission. They have the mission, and that's what they're going to do. And they have to define it really specifically so that each individual knows exactly what they're doing and what the others are doing, so that the whole organism of hunters can work well together. It needs to be clear, okay, well, what kind of animal are we focused on? We're gonna focus on just killing them, or having whatever method they're using, so that everybody knows, okay, that's the method we're using, and stuff like that. So it has to be really clear on what they're doing, and so that, yeah, each moment of the whole process, everybody knows what the other is doing. Otherwise there's just waste in, okay, well, then they have to stop and communicate again, and I thought you were doing this and whatever, and it just takes a lot of energy, and the animal's long gone basically. And that's a whole process of not just humans doing this, but a lot of social animals that for example hunt together or do other stuff together. They're just really focused on, okay, well, we have, for example, we have a mission to relocate the young ones to a new den of sorts. They're really like, if you look at them, everyone knows exactly what the other is doing, and they're working like a well-oiled machine, having defined, okay, that's our mission, that's what we're going to do, and then having a clear also, okay, well, what's the definition of done, what's the goal, what do we need to accomplish, when do we know that it's successful, where are we now, like all those things. They're not writing it down or having charts or anything, but those are really important parts of the whole mission, because otherwise it will fail if not everybody knows exactly what they're working for or working on, and when it's done, then that's just gonna be chaos. And this still needs to be like, for example, if they have to relocate because of some unexpected, I don't know, temperature change or natural phenomenon, they still need to figure out how to feed themselves, how to feed the kids, how to take care of the kids. It's the same thing. Like, all of our lives don't stop just because there is a new mission, either if it's improvement or if it's just another thing that's happening that we need to take care of now, to have a more comfortable life or to improve in any way our living situation. And the same is true not only for like such big missions, but also the smaller ones, that everybody in the clan is aware, okay, we're living where there's 4 seasons, where it's going to get cold, then we need to prepare shelter, and we need to tan hides for covering that shelter, or we need to collect certain things before winter. It's also pretty clear, the timeline is clear, okay, well, we have to get this and this amount of stuff done by that time, more or less. Of course they don't have dates, but when living outside for a longer period of time, we had a mission of, okay, there's a winter shelter that we need to finish, and then the cold came early, and we realized, okay, it's going to be a lot harder now to get the roots out of the ground when the ground's frozen, and to collect enough moss for the insulation, that because the bog was frozen, and certain things were just, if you make all those mistakes, you realize, okay, well, there's a time frame, and it's important to have that done before, so that it's not going to be 3 times the amount of effort to do it. and sometimes we just need to stumble over all those problems that are happening if we're not committing to that time frame or that scope, so to speak. If we're doing other stuff, if we're I don't know, running around just enjoying the day, then it's gonna, or we're just, okay, well, now I just want to tan hides and I'm not going to build a shelter, and or I want to pick some flowers, they're nice, and like, they're also important things to do, but if it's not focused on that mission, then yeah, the mission will fail, basically. And so yeah, that's in short, or maybe not so short, my view on that whole topic of defining the scope and how to start with a project. So yeah, if there's any questions, or if you have some additional ideas on the topic, I'd love to hear that as well.
So I think those are interesting observations, Elizabeth, and I think that really resonates with the whole project management aspect. The more we think through the project initially, the lesser the problems will occur later on, and that's the whole perspective of this first phase. And the more we better we define, the more we are aligned with the other team members. I think the success of a project really increases, as you rightly said, in a nature aspect as well. It really resonates how well prepared we are, if we anticipate the weather, if we anticipate the obstacles that we're going to get along the way. I think those are the things that are going to help us be successful in the project. So I think yeah, I mean that's what I can think of right now. And I think I mean the next step really would be uh, to really start with the like the 21-day plan, in terms of what we are going to do on that particular aspect. uh, and I think that's where the data collection aspect comes in, which we might want to go into detail for the next call, because I know we are almost 5 minutes away from our closing time.
Yeah.
So so that's what I thought. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
thank
that's all I wanted to share, Elizabeth, on this for now.
you. Then, yeah, thank you so much for joining again. Thank you, Aman, for all your sharings, and that we could open that space of exploration. And yeah, what I realized before my share, throughout my sharing, that it's also important to really consider that something could go wrong, and how to also prepare yourself for, okay, what are we going to do if something fails. But that's the whole topic, I think, for another time. Maybe next time that we're going into it, or yeah, just kind of looking at the next few steps that need to be done at the beginning of the whole project phase. So we're going to go through all of that. Thank you so much for joining, everybody, and until next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.